All right, Mr. Ricky Brito, thank you so much for being part of the show here. I'm excited to get to know you, brother. We've run into each other. You helped me with a few things in the past too. Just a great guy in the insurance business. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, Dan. It's an honor and privilege to be on your show. When you asked me, I was ecstatic. I was very surprised and happy. I just see myself as a humble man, and I've watched you and seen the all the people that you have on this Elite Talk Agent Elite Talk, and I'm like, man, I'm just so honored to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, yeah. I'm happy to have you on. So for those people that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe where you're at right now, or actually, why don't we just start from way back and talk about how you even got started in this business?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Ricky Brito. I'm with Agent Brokers United. That's an association. We host National Insurance Trade Show Convention. But how I started in this business was about 3.5 years ago. My cousin Monique, her husband Robert, is in the insurance industry. He's fully licensed with property casualty, life accident, and health. And he see me working, and he's like, "Rick, you're getting too old. Let me introduce you to a couple of people that I know in the insurance industry and see if this will be a good fit for you." I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So he introduced me to John Spoggy, who is the CEO and founder of Agent Brokers United, and he's the owner of IC Insurance Academy along with his business partner. And so he introduced me to them, and we just hit it off. There was a connection, there was a bond, and I started working at IC Insurance Academy, which is in Rancho Cucamonga. And IC Insurance Academy is a pre-licensing school. So for anyone who wants to get into the insurance industry, they have in-person classes for property and casualty, personal lines, life accident and health. It's a good training session because it's in person, and as far as I know, we're the only uh, class that offers in-person training. And they also offer other training for higher learning education if you want to get into trucking, permits, workers' comp to learn more about it. So they offer a wide range of education for within the insurance industry to help these agents become successful.
Yeah, well, you're just an overall great guy. When I met you at the convention, there's everybody said hi to you. It was crazy. We were just walking through the booths and like everybody knew you. So we're gonna talk about how you have these relationship with so many people in the business, and then about the convention too, which is very exciting, and the power of
Yeah.
going to conventions. But um, so right now, I know because you helped me with my staff before with the training, and I appreciated that. But he also so he has a training, he has the association and the agency?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. John Spot, he not only has the association, which he's been doing for 13 years, but he has the insurance school, which is IC Insurance Academy. And then he also has a trucking agency and two more other agencies, independent agencies. So I'm working at one of them now. And I have a really easy job just answering phones, doing marketing, trying to develop new business for the agency. Yes.
Wow,
But
okay.
one of the most important things you mentioned is the networking and meeting people. And all that came about when once I knew that John was hosting these trade show conventions, I started off at his registration desk passing out t-shirts. And I would just shadow him, I would listen to him, I would listen to him talk, meet all different people, and you know, getting to understand what the insurance industry is about. It's so big, but yet it's so small. And from there, once he opened that door for me, I just went at it and I just ran all over the place because I wanted to meet everybody. And the reason for that is because the networking is so important. And for me, I'm just like the connector, right? So I personally don't write any business, but I like to find out who the companies are, what the agents do. So this way I can connect them and I'll get a lot of people who may ask me, I have a risk, where should I put it? Or can you help me out with trying to get in contact with a person with a company, XYZ company? I'm like, yeah, not a problem. If I know them, then I'll definitely make that connection to see if they're a good fit for appointments or any questions that they may have. And for me, it's all about the success and growth of all the agents and their agencies, their brokers, and of course the companies. That's what it's all about. I just love helping people. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do, and it's amazing, and it's good because I get to meet people like you. I've watched you, I follow your Instagram and the culture that you have within your agency and how you build them and develop them and you give them so much and I get it, I understand it. And I've even told people you got to follow this guy Dan. Just look at what he does because that's a blueprint. It's just amazing what you do, and I like meeting people. I'm just, uh, I'm just happy to meet you.
No, I appreciate that, Ricky,
Yeah,
for your support, and what you've done too, introducing me to some people too. That's
yeah.
been for me. Um, what were you doing before?
Oh, all manual labor from shipping and receiving to landscaping. I started off working on a roof at the age of 10 with my stepdad and his roofing company when he was started off. I was doing that during summertime, or if he needed me during school time because it was a tear off job or whatever, I did all the manual labor. So I developed a strong work habit, right? So it's all been just manual labor. And once I was introduced to this, I was like, man, this is me. I never even thought about the insurance industry. I had no knowledge of it, to be honest with you. And then once I was introduced to it, I loved it. I love this industry and all the things that I can do to help people.
Did you were you always in Southern California?
Yes, I've always lived in Southern California. Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Um, well, yeah. What do you think about when people think like, oh, like you have to be starting from a very young age, this insurance business. You gotta learn from but you kind of just started and you already have your main duty really is, or your main passion or your project or your role is the conference right now, would you say? It's more than the school?
Yes, absolutely. My main role is I'm the vice president of sales and marketing. So my thing is to reach out to all the companies that are out there and to reach out to the agents and bring them awareness about what we do and how we can bring them value as well as the companies because without the companies, the agents can't become successful, and without the agents, the companies can't become successful. They both need each other, and that's where we provide the platform for that. And we go out and get keynote speakers, um, provide continuing education classes for them. We want them to win. We want everybody to win. There's a lot of associations out there, and I support them all because we all have one goal in mind: the success of the agents. And that's important to us.
Nice. So yeah, well, from not being in the business at all, and in 3 years having that type of responsibility and knowing so many people in the business, and for actually John to give you that role, what do you think helped you just move up with this organization so fast?
My drive, determination, the discipline, and just wanting it. That's most important. Just like in anything in life, you need to have that discipline. You need to be a go-getter. You want to be able to achieve. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have a positive mindset, and you can't give up. I mean, I'm in a business where I get a lot of no's, or it's not a good fit for us, or we can't exhibit at your trade show. And I understand that, but it doesn't keep me from stopping to asking the next person within their company who might see that value. And that's what I go after. I just continue to go and promote. It's all about promoting and networking and meeting different people from everywhere. That's all the success has been. And no, you don't have to start young. You can start at any age. I mean, me, I'm 50 years old. So this is what, 47, 46, somewhere around there. I came to the industry and this is what I like to do. So
Man.
this is for everyone. This is for everyone. Yeah, it is.
Well, is there any moment that you feel like, because he didn't know you when he hired you, right?
He did not know me. It was a matter of just an introduction, sitting down and talking, and he gave me the responsibility. Okay, well, I'm like, I want to help up. I want to get involved, and okay, sit right here at the registration table. When people come in to register, give them their T-shirts. I'm like, okay, and now I'm like maybe running 90% of the business with them.
Wow.
So yeah, I enjoy it. I really love what I do, and he puts all this trust in me because we got a bond. So he's not only my CEO and founder of the association. He's not only my boss, but he's like a brother. We just always have that bond with each other, and so he trusts me with a lot. And we go to different trade shows throughout the country, more so than him. I've been to a few. Um, and sometimes if he can't make it, we just divide and conquer, right? So he'll send me and I'll go, and because he knows that he can count on me. And when I meet people, I want to make that lasting impression, to make those connections. I want them to know because we're a brand, right? You got to brand yourself in whatever you do, and just like the company. And I want people to know that, this is Asian Brokers United. This is what we do. And my name is Ricky. This is John. And this is how we can help you provide value and why you should attend trade shows, and give them tips and tricks on, advice, suggestions on what they should do when they get there, what to expect. Because I've had conversations. Oh, I don't know if this would be good for me. If you're in the insurance industry and you write business, this will be good for you because this is where all the companies are at. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And there's so many companies out there that I'm still learning about that I never even heard of. So I can only imagine if they're just stuck in their agency and they're not attending trade shows, they're losing a little bit when they could be gaining and winning more by going out because as an agent or an agency owner, you have to invest in yourself and you have to invest in your agents. And by doing that, you got to provide them with more options because you need to be able to reach into your toolbox and say, okay, if it doesn't fit here, well, I have another company that does. And you can't always just rely on that. You don't want to lose business, or have to refer it out when you keep it in. And by networking, going to social events, whether it's local or it's far off, I've watched you. You travel. You do speaking engagements and you go to different conferences, and that's great. You know, and that's how people become successful.
Do you think you were always naturally like um friendly and easy to talk to strangers? Does that come natural to you?
It does. It does come natural to me because I'm just a sociable person. If I see you, I'm going to talk to you and get to know you. I'm about building relationships. I'm about long-term partnerships. I'm not into the transactional. Just like I tell companies, I'm not, we get a lot of companies that will call and say, hey, we would like to reach out to the agents that come out to your events. And I'm like, that's great. But we're not looking for nothing transactional. We want long-term partnerships where I can call them and say, hey, I got a friend. He's a good friend of mine. His name is Dan. He would like to know more about your company. If you guys can connect and talk and maybe help him out with an appointment if it's a good fit because you have to go through the application process, right? So a lot of that works. And for me, it just talking to people comes natural. Like I remember seeing you and I just walked up to you. Hey, Dan, it's nice to meet you. I follow you. And, I met your friend. I forgot his name. And you guys were out smoking cigars. And it was just a good time,
It
and
was.
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And this is how I conduct myself all the time around people. And I love it. And it's amazing. It really
What would
is.
you say to people who maybe that's not their natural, personality, Because I do 100% agree that it's important to know people in the business and you could help each other out. It's really how
Yeah.
this business works. But maybe some agents out there that are a little bit shy of stepping out and meeting somebody and going to conferences and, putting themselves out there.
Well, I mean, if they're an insurance agent, they got to be sociable because you got to talk to your clients on the phone or in person. And when you walk up to someone, you don't want to have a down face, and you want to seem energetic. You want to be able to talk to them and smile because at the end, you're going to want their business if they're a prospect or a current client. So you have to be sociable and friendly. But yeah, no, they have to get out of that box. I mean, you know, we all go to parties or family parties or receptions or weddings, and you have to smile and you dance and you talk to people because you know them. But even with people that you don't know, you have to have that same approach. Like if you do know them, even though you're meeting them for the first time, whatever you have to tell your mind to get over that little bump, because that's all it is. It's just a little bump. It's not a roadblock. It's just a little bump. Get over it, and put yourself out there because there's so much to learn. You can learn from so much from everybody. And it doesn't matter whether it's on the captive side or the independent side, your agents, your producers, you all have the same drive. You want to become successful, you want to grow. So yeah, all these things are important and to develop relationships with the marketing reps because at one point you may need them for something. Something might come up in your agency and you can't get something across, but they're gonna remember Ricky or they're gonna remember Dan or whoever the person may be. Like I remember talking to them, you know what, I'll give them a shot. Let me see if I can do something to help them out and get you to the right person that you need to talk to. And it's just like the agents, if the brokers, the agents, if at one point they want to become an agency owner, they're going to need to know who these people are. And eventually, that marketing rep that they met, they may become the president of the company one day. They're going to remember, oh, yeah, I remember Dan. You know, he might be a president of a company that you need to start writing business with. And you give him a call, hey, it's me, Dan. Hey, how you doing, Dan? I heard you're that's great. You know, and the connection is made, and they always remember that. And, you know, a person's kindness can go a long way. It can go a long way. And going into something expecting nothing is key. That's important.
Mm. Going into something and but not expecting anything. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to marketing reps, I always feel like in a relationship, like there should be something of value that you could offer them, you know? Like you don't want to just like, hey, you just give me an appointment, like, like what can I help you out with? Or what's your approach or advice to agents that are trying to get appointments to a specific carrier and how you could be successful in getting that? Like obviously treat them with kindness and stuff like that, but any specifics or any like things that help when it comes to building that relationship with marketing reps?
Yeah, building a relationship with the marketing reps, you just got to stay in their ear because they got so many different people and they get it from all over. I mean, they get the good attitudes and the bad attitudes. You know, you might come to me and unfortunately I can't give you an appointment and then you don't talk to me because of that. You know, it's okay to continue to build on the relationship because one of these days they're going to open up and they're going to go down their mental list of all the people they talked to and says, this person was good, this person was not so good. You know, let me go down the list first because eventually they do need the agents to write business, but they're going to go down that mental checklist and be like, okay, let's go with Dan first because you know he was always there, he always remembered me, he remembered my name. It's just like building a relationship with your client. You know, you want to know uh their kids' names if you're going to send them birthdays. You want to know their dogs' names, their pets, their husbands, significant others, you know, certain events in their life that you might remember and be like, hey, I just want to tell you happy birthday today or happy anniversary, you know, whatever the situation may be. And it's the same with the marketing reps. You want to develop that with them because marketing reps get a lot of flack sometimes, right? Why aren't you guys writing? And oh, we got to come in with some bad news because you know you're not producing enough, you're not meeting the quota, or they got to come and tell you we can only get submit only a couple apps through us twice a month, you know? And that's just the company. They're not the ones who make the rules. You know, they're just following orders, right? And they have to come down and deliver that message. And you just gotta accept the message and take it for what it is and say, okay, not a problem. You know, we'll just go with it.
Yeah, sounds like just having a good attitude is what kind of like is the key here.
You
Like
have
just
to.
like anything else.
Yeah, you have to have it. And me, I consider myself like a marketing rep for the association because I gotta go out and get the business. I gotta go out there and ask them to come out to our shows and do all these things. And like I said, I get a lot of no's, but the main thing is not to take nothing personal because it's just business at the end of the day. We understand it's a business. They're not making those personal decisions, but sometimes they do can make that personal decision when they got to go through that mental checklist, right? Okay, we're going to go ahead and let 50 in. They're going to go to the 50 best people that they know out of the 200 that they met, you know, and how they were treated, how they were welcomed, so yeah, all that's very important. You know, people gotta get more actively involved within the insurance industry because it's more than just your office space, whether it's 300 square feet, 615. It there's so man, insurance industry is so big but yet so small, right? And it's important. People just need to do it.
Do you feel like in the independent side, I wonder in the independent side, how does it work? Like, do agents kind of work with each other closely because there isn't really like an opportunity to meet with each other? Like the captive side, where there's like, trips and stuff like that. We get to know each other over the years. There's always like, training and we're kind of in the same group. We see each other's like leaderboard and we see how much they're writing and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more like I'm not sure you could say like camaraderie or like kind of like, say on the same team type of attitude maybe, or what do you think in how it is in the independent side? Does it get lonely, or is it people help each other, or what's it like?
No, I wouldn't say that it gets lonely. I mean, even though you hear the word independent, you're thinking you're just by yourself, right? And at the end, you're just able to write to more, you're able to submit more business through a lot more different companies instead of like within one small area. So yeah, they definitely help each other out. Um, or refer. Like I might have a company that you don't, and you say, Rick, I got this client, he would be a good fit for you. Can you help him out? And you refer back and forth, vice versa. So it all depends on the person.
Mhm.
That's what it all comes down to. But for the most part, those who are actively involved that go out to the trade shows are the ones who want to learn and educate themselves on more what's out there. And of course, talk to other agency owners on what they're doing to become successful. What are some of their roadblocks and how do they overcome those roadblocks? So yeah, it's important, but I don't think there's like everyone just gets together and see like let's compare to see how much we're making or let's go on these trips. I think it all comes down to um, them coming out to the different meetings that the different associations set up or the trade shows or mastermind groups. There's a lot of mastermind groups that they have out there. And that's just how people grow. And it's just specifically for agency owners, or they may allow in some of the agent brokers because that's how you grow. The more education you get is the more knowledge is power, right? So it's important who you surround yourself with because there's a lot of good agents and then there's going to be some bad agents, right? That might cut corners. So it's all about who you surround yourself with in that circle and to take in the suggestions and advice and do what works for you. Just don't close it off. Have that open mindset because that's how you're going to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about the convention. It's in Vegas, or
Yeah, it's in Vegas. Yeah, so our convention is coming up April 24th through the 27th, 2025 at Planet Hollywood Las Vegas Resort and Casino. So the 24th, we have a golf tournament. John Spoggy, he has a friend, well, our friend, but he's known him a lot longer than I have. His name is Chris Lejeune. He was with Hawksoft and he recently passed away a few years. And so what John was like, he wants to continue the memory, he wants people to know who he was, right, and what he's done for this industry. So we do a golf tournament in his name, the Krista June Memorial Classic Golf Tournament, which is on the 24th. And then on the 25th and the 26th, our schedule would look like keynote speakers, company presentations from 8 to 12. And then from 12 to 4 would be the open trade show where the agents and the agency owners can walk around and see all the exhibitors to see what products are out there, whether it's virtual intelligence, MGAs, or some of the carriers. I mean, there's just so many companies out there that can help them grow.
and it's a national one.
It's a national show. Before he was doing two shows a year here in California, and then he made a decision about 3 years ago. You know what? These carriers and these companies, they're not regional, they're national. And we got agents from all over. So let's go national, let's go bigger, go home. So it was a big giant leap. And that's, overcoming your fears a little bit because in
Hmm.
the end, the only person's name is on the line is the person that signs that dotted line, right? And that would be John. So when he said, let's do it, when we went, I just went full force to make sure that this is going to be successful. And, and it was. Our first year, like I mentioned, it was at the Tropicana because it was within our budget. And the second year was at the Rio, which was a good place to host it. And now we just signed a 2-year contract for 2025 and 2026 at Planet Hollywood with the Caesars Entertainment.
Now you guys
So,
are on the strip.
yeah, we're right there on the strip. And it has its benefits, right? Whether you're at the Rio, because now you don't necessarily lose a lot of the agents that, okay, I'm going to go to lunch and all literally have to do is just walk across the hallway in another casino. And then you might get lost at the bar, you might start gambling. So that was good that it was on its own little island because you had to be intentional. Like, okay, I got to get in an Uber and I got to go down to the strip to go do something. But yeah, we're right there on the strip with Planet Hollywood. It's a good location. It's going to be a great time, a lot of value. And, everyone is welcome. If you're an agency owner, you want to come. You definitely want to attend. Um, there's a lot of stuff out there that's going to provide you with a lot of value.
Nice, yeah. Do you like going, do you like agents? Do they a lot of times go by themselves or to go with another agency owner or to bring their staff or what do a lot of agents do when it comes to these
Well, there's
conventions?
it's a variety. We get a mixed variety. If they're local, they get together and let's either road trip or they just meet each other up or fly out together. Yeah, so we get some people who bring their staff of six, their staff of one, two, whatever they're gonna bring because they still got to keep their office open and running. They don't like to take everyone out. But like for an example, this last our last show, a lot of the staff in John's office came to help with the registration. All they did was bring their laptops and they submit. They got like they were still submitting business, because you can work from anywhere with your laptop. As long as you're on your phones and your laptop, you can do this anywhere. And they just did it remote. They're still doing the registration on their break time. They went back into, doing all their follow-ups. So yeah, it's a variety. Everyone is welcome. Everybody, bring your staff because that's how they learn. But then we get some people who might be like, oh, I don't want to bring my staff because what if someone tries to get them, right? So it's all on the agency owner on what's their mindset, or maybe they don't want to expose them to what's out there. Like maybe you got a good writing producer. It's like, man, I don't want this mentally. You're telling yourself, I don't want this person to leave me and start his own agency or her own agency. So it all depends on the person, but it's you just gotta have a positive mindset, having the confidence in your team, and show them, because this is a whole different world. You know.
Yeah, it's a really big world too out there. And that's something that's interesting. You talk about a lot of that because a lot of it does come down to trust. Does the agency
Yes.
owner trust? And that's something I feel like you developed with John really early. How do you
Yeah.
gain, you know, uh, the agency owner's trust in your eyes, or even the carrier's
Uh,
eyes? It's that has a lot to do with just good relationships.
yeah. So people work with people they trust. It's a true saying. You know, me, it's just being yourself. Just be yourself. That's all it's all about. And have normal conversation with them. You know, that's important. It's worked for me, and thank God, I've been successful with it. Just being myself, talking to them, and getting to know them more on just that transactional level. So I try to develop that relationship and maintain it. I mean, we don't have to talk every day, but when we see each other at conferences, it was like we seen each other yesterday. It's always that good feeling. Like you mentioned, you're walking by and people are like, hey, how you doing? It's those things are like that's where that's to me that's success. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your pocketbook. For me, it's knowing that people are happy to see you. Because you can get some people that walk in the room, you're like, oh my God, I hope this person doesn't come over here. Right. But yeah, so it's just all about being yourself and building the trust is just keeping your word. That's most important. If you say you're going to do
Mm,
something, if nothing permits you that keeps you from doing it, that's understandable, right? But for the most part, that's what they want to see, you know, and and I believe that they know where I come from. My heart is genuine with them, and it's just all about helping them. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's keeping your word. I think that's a really important part of just not only building trust with your boss or carriers, but for yourself too. So you
Yes.
have more confidence that hey, I'm a type of person that, when I say stuff, then I come through with it. And then just yeah, also genuinely caring about other people and just knowing your intent is to just help others, and that also gets people could sense that. People could sense that, like, hey, this person is trying to help me. So if your intent is pure, then a lot of times, then they could see that, and then you could there's really no reason not to trust somebody who's trying to help you.
That's true. And one of the most important things that works for me is that I always make myself available.
Mm.
If I get a call, from someone at 10 p.m. at night, or if I get an email, I happen to get up at the middle of the night for whatever reason, and I got a habit of checking my phone. If I see an email that was sent to me at 2 in the morning, I'm gonna answer it because if they thought it was that important to send me an email, I'm gonna answer that email. So I always learn to make myself available. If someone calls me at 4 in the morning or 6 in the morning because they're on the East Coast, I'm not gonna look at it and say, "Oh, it's not 9 o'clock yet. I'm not on the clock yet." I'm gonna answer it. They feel it's important. I'm gonna answer their call. So for me, that's work, and I'm always like responsive on everything. I'm really responsive, and I think they like that a lot too.
Yeah, yeah. This business really, because we're not really selling a physical product, it's just all about communication.
Yes,
So how well you treat people and how you make them feel is really just the only thing that determines if you're going to be good in this business or not. So you're just a great example of someone who's just by being a good person and being friendly and just making people feel welcome. It was crazy. We were just walking down the aisle. You were going to introduce me to a carrier, and we
yeah,
just walk down the aisle, and 10 people are like, hey Ricky, like from
yeah,
here and from there and we're here.
yeah.
Is do that I know it sounds simple, but I feel like there's more to it. Like there's just like some type of secret you have, or like you have to have memory of remembering people's names, or is it just comes natural to you, right? Or is there something else like that is like uh helps you build these relationships? Because maybe
I
because I'm
think
a shy guy, so maybe that's why it's kind of like to me it's like wow, that's like that's how do you get there, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just always going up to them and talking to them. So, I mean, everybody likes to, I guess, be acknowledged or recognized at some point. Like, because people come to these shows and I don't think there's any real secret to it. It's just about doing it. You just got to go out and do it. And for me, it developed to where I'm going to walk all the way across the room. If I seen someone on LinkedIn, I mean, social platforms are very important too. I've met a lot of people through LinkedIn that I never met in person. But when I go to these shows, we've communicated on LinkedIn. We've engaged with each other's posts or social media, whether it's IG or Facebook, and it's like we've already known each other. So that makes that much more easier too, because you already see some of their posts, what they talked about. You've engaged with it. You have these conversations. So a lot of that helps. And for me, I like to promote other companies, or agents. So if I see you, we've taken pictures, and with the companies too. After we talked, and I'm talking about our next upcoming events and trying to get them there, or connecting them with agents like yourself or whoever. I would take pictures with them, and I would post it on social media, giving them that shout out and company spotlight and recognition for their company, right? And people see that, and people like that. And I get a lot of stuff like, why do you do that? Or why do you promote their company if they don't come out to your show? And I explain to them, it's not about me, it's not about John Spaghi, or it's not about Agent Brokers United. It's about the success of all the agents that are out there. Because when they see my post and they see Dan, for an example, they click on the Dan, they'll see what Dan does, and they're gonna like, oh man, this is great stuff right here, or they click onto a person's company and they realize, man, I need this company, So I like doing that for everybody, whether or not they come to our show or not. It's for the people who are looking, right? So, and there's people who always are looking, and it helps them. I've gotten a lot of things like one of the carriers walked up to me and says, Ricky, someone came to my booth specifically because they seen a picture of me and you and you tagged our company, and this is what brought them there. I'm like, man, this is why I do this. Even if they would have ever brought that to my attention, this is exactly why I do it. And these are my successes. That's my success story, right? So yeah, everything is relevant. Everything is important with the insurance industry, and being kind to people. And I still stay humble, right? And that's most important because you could be the most acknowledged person or recognized, but you still have to be humble. You have to. You can't let it get to your head and you know overdo it. You just
Right.
have to be humble and continue to walk that path and don't change. That's most important. Don't change. It's like I was humbled when you asked me, "Hey, would you like to be on the show?" I'm like, "Yes," because I see the people you have on your show. These are very successful people, right? CEOs and all that. I'm like, wow, so to be on here, I'm very excited. And this is a humbling experience for me to be able to introduce myself to people who don't know me and our association with Agent Brokers United and what we do. So I appreciate this a lot. I really do. It's it, thank you.
No,
I'm
yeah,
just
no.
laughing.
You've always treated me right, and it's always been a pleasure, just getting to know you. So anytime we had a situation, it's just been, yeah, you're right. Availability is huge. Social media too is crazy too because it's like we knew each other before we met, if it,
Yes.
so I think that is a great way to connect people. And as a connector, it totally makes sense that using that tool because that's what social media is for, right? It's connecting each other to different people. So for the conference, is how many, if you don't mind me asking, like agents and like companies and what's like the turnout? Because sounds like a
Yeah. So
pretty
this
big
year we have a
venue there.
yeah. This year we have a floor plan set up for 71 vendors, and we do have the option to expand that if we need to add more booths to the floor plan, we can do that. And we're expecting anywhere between 400 to 600 agency owners and agent brokers throughout the United States.
Oh, nice.
That's my goal. I have this vision since we're national. I want to make it big, and I want to invite all associations, all agents that attend different associations, all independent, all captives. I want this to be a place and a resource because, in this insurance industry, we do need to leverage each other's friendships, right? And business because of the connections that we have and make. And I want it to grow. I want it to be 4 to 600. Next year, I want it to be 7 to 800. Then I want it to be 8 to 1,000 because there's associations who get it out there. We're just in a different space. We're not like the insurtech world where there's so much of it and it's global, right? We're just like here in the United States, and I want to invite everybody because everybody's welcome. They don't have to become a member. We're not an aggregate. We're not a network. We're an association here to help you. We're Agent Brokers United, and we want to keep the industry united as one, right? And that's how we grow. That's how we grow individually. You can't do anything by yourself. You have a team. You started with yourself, then you got a team and you built, and that's what's helping everybody get there. People think that they can do it themselves, they can't. Me and John can't be successful without people like you. We can't be successful without agents who attend. We can't be successful without the exhibitors who do sponsorships or come out to exhibit their products. So, this is my thank you to everybody who knows us and who attends and sponsors. We just want to help people. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I could definitely feel that you really want to help. So what do you think about just the industry in general? Like, at least from what I've dealt with in California and with the company that I have or I represent, it's been pretty rough,
Yes.
not recruiting new agents, not wanting to even write policies and some non-renewals, a lot of non-renewals actually and stuff like that. But what's kind of like the appetite or the climate of like the other carriers out there as you get into a new year pretty soon?
Yeah, I think I mean we're always going to go through a rough patch, and that's what we're going through now, especially in California. And I'm sure this is happening all over. And a lot of people are used to doing the personal lines that have been successful, but now because we have this rough path, you have to people should think about going commercial, learning more about commercial and expanding your book of business, right? Or getting agents who are on the life side your financial services with your life and health, get into the Medicare. There's ways around it. Don't look at the problem, but find a solution. If you do that, you're gonna win every time. If you just sit there and shut the phone, oh man, this is too big. Well, how are we gonna get around this? What's the solution to it? Find a solution. That was this agency down the way becoming so successful during this time. What can I do to become successful? And that's what it's all about. Just find a solution it can get worse, but as long as you have options, you're gonna be okay. If you just rely on one card trick the whole time, that's not gonna work for you, right? So you have to expand your book of business, expand your mind. Even though this is a downtime, you can still hire. You can still find ways for them to do something in the office and train them on a niche, you know, get them into workers' comp, get them into trucking, get them into permits, whatever it is, train them, build them. And when it opens up, you're going to already have something that's going to go full force and already know it. And bam, there it is. You know, there's just all kinds of things that people can do.
Yeah, that's where positive attitude really comes into play, when
Yeah.
even during the down times, you're just preparing yourself for the good times because you know it's going to come. So if you didn't
Mhm.
have that positive attitude during the down times, you'll probably like, oh, I don't want to hire anybody, I don't want to market, I don't want to build systems because it's just not good right now. But when you have a positive attitude, you know that, you know, the expansion phase is going to come eventually. Sometimes you don't know
Yes.
when. So you look forward to that and you do stuff that helps you prepare for that moment. And I think that moment is when separation happens because when it's tough, everyone's kind of like working their way up, but some agencies are going to start off way faster than the ones that start slow when companies want us to write again.
Yeah.
When do you think that'll be?
Yes. Huh?
When do you think would be really like, well, not normal, but like when do you think like companies are, or maybe some carriers are really wanting us to write a lot? Or do you feel that way right now? Or what do you think? Do you think carriers, or some of them are even getting aggressive with writing new business? What do you see out there?
I've seen some carriers open up just a little bit, not a lot, from what I hear, but there's still going to be restrictions. You got some carriers that are just not, like you said, not renewing some of the business. I've talked to agency owners where um, they have a lot of their business with this one carrier, and I don't want to put them out there, but they're just not renewing them. Now they need to place their business somewhere else, and they're looking for that, you know. But there's a little distress in there because this is your livelihood, right? This is how you survive. But positive attitude, finding solutions, and keep moving forward. That's the best bet. I mean, because if you can make it through this, and we've all made it through rough times in our lives, whether it be a breakup, uh, uh, a death in a family, those are hard times. Some people have become broke. And if they've made it through that, they can make it through anything. It's all about the mindset and finding solutions and asking for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're out there and you need help, talk to them, talk to someone who's out there who you see that you may be successful or ask for it, who can they connect you with so that you can learn and invest that time in yourself because there's a lot of people out there willing to help. And unfortunately, that's their business with consulting, right? Whether it's business coaching or life coach, that's their business too, and that's how they survive. So it doesn't hurt to invest in yourself and invest in your agents within your agency because at the end of the day, a lot of us will go to Starbucks, we'll go out to dinners and parties and buy gifts and presents and do all these things and vacations. Use some of that for yourself. That comes with the sacrifice of being a agency owner, right? A business owner. So instead of doing all that, put more into yourself because that's just me on how I see it works. I could be wrong, but that's just my
No,
suggestion.
no, I agree with you. Yeah, you're the best investment you can make is yourself.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get more back than investing in yourself? When it comes to just having like just such a great attitude and stuff like that, do you what do you do to help yourself? And again, it could be just natural. So I'm not sure, but
Well,
um, do you have to maintain that somehow, or anything
I
you
mean,
do?
I've been through some struggles in my life, so I was able to come. So I have a different outlook on life. So when I began to appreciate life, your life will change. When you begin to be thankful for everything that you got and not what you don't have, your life will change. If you think about how you got to where you're at today and be appreciative of that, your life will change. I have bad days, I have bad moments, but I don't have bad days, right? I can be upset about something and you just gotta it's that self-positive talk, and of course you'll have people around you to give you that reinforcement. All those things are important, but for the most it's going to be yourself. You can't depend on nobody else when it comes to this. It's something that you have to work through, and if you can't do it yourself, that's when you gotta reach out to a family friend, a confidant, to say, I'm having a bad day and I need to get over this. It's a it's a mental wall, and we can all get over it. For me, I just look at things a lot different in life, and again, I appreciate life. I love life. I love what I do. So for me, this work is fun. It's not even work, you know.
Mm.
I love it, you know, and I've met a lot of great people with, and I've been able to do outings with companies and and help them organize and plan events. It's just and of course and I got to give it all back to John too because he allowed me this opportunity to do this. Because if it wasn't for the introduction and then him giving me the trust to do all this, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, or the help that he's given me as well. So but the positive mindset is key. The positive mindset is key. Don't take nothing personal. Try not to let people bother you. Um, no one can make you upset. Only you can. These are emotions. Your emotions are like a light switch. They can turn off and turn on. You decide if you're going to let that bother you or not. If you want to turn it off, then turn it off. It's really that simple once you start doing it because then it becomes a habit. You know, you're working out, trying to be consistent, and sometimes we fall off. But get back on it. Go back to working out. Go back to walking, spending time with your family. Whatever it is that brings you joy, that's what you do.
There you go. Yeah, man, good stuff. You you read books?
I've read some books in my time. I couldn't tell you all the books that I've read, but I've read some books.
I feel a lot of stuff that we're talking about. I think we have a lot of common values. But have you read the Four Agreements?
I've heard of the Four Agreements.
You read it?
Yeah, I don't think I've read that book though.
Oh, you haven't read it? Okay, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that you talk about, like don't take it personal and like stuff like
Yeah,
that. Always trying your best and just being a good person. So that's why I just thought of that, like how like so much of what you talk about is in that book. So I just want to take a guess to see if you read it or
yeah,
not. Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, I never read, but I'm gonna look that book up though, for sure.
Yeah, no,
Now that you,
yeah, well, you may not have to because you already like live it. You live
right,
those
right,
you live those four agreements.
yes,
Like, being keeping your word. Like all this stuff
yeah,
you said is like
yes,
in that book. I almost feel like I'm talking to the author.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about the independent side, like what are some, agents that do really well in that business? How or I'm not sure how much you know about the captive side, and I can share with you a little bit there, but what are some differences you
Yes.
see or some just overall from your lens, like what differences you see and what tips do you have for independent agents out there?
As far as the independent agents, I mean, you got to go out there and get the work. You can't wait for it to come to you. You gotta be a business developer. You got to market yourself. You got to brand yourself. You got to brand an agency because not all the time your people are going to come to your door. You have to go look for the business, and that's one important thing. If they're saying, "Oh, I'm not getting enough business," how many business cards did you pass out this week? How many phone calls did you make? What have you done to find the companies out there that can help your business grow? What management systems? What are you using? Who your referral sources? Do you follow up with them? Do you keep that information? I mean, we all go to restaurants. How many times have you talked to a business owner and asked them about his business? You know, because there's restaurant insurance, so that can't be too hard to write. And there's companies out there who will write it. And everybody you see is business because everyone's going to either own a car, renters, home, auto. They might have a business, workers' comp, GL, business owners policies. There's so much out there for it. It's like, what have you done? That's what it comes down to, whether you're independent or captive, right? What have you done to help yourself succeed? Now, yeah, well, I got my brokers and they're not doing nothing. Well, if they're not doing nothing for you, then this is maybe not a place for them. And that's just a hard decision that you have to make as a business owner. If they're not helping you grow and they don't have the same vision, they got to have the same vision as you. It doesn't matter what side you're on. The only difference with the independent side is they just might have a variety of different companies that they can submit business to without having to. And I don't know if you have to ask permission or get. get approval first on the campus side. But if you're an independent agent, you're just able to go out there, get the business, get the appointments, and submit. If they're accepted because they're a good fit for the company.
Yeah. Do you think there's a little bit of more branding necessary? Like how do independent schools like have to brand their agencies? Because, sometimes if you're a captive, you have that national recognition, like everybody knows these carriers. Because but with the independent, it's kind of like, wait, I've never heard of this company. How do the
Right.
independents overcome that, you think?
Yeah. So they have to market. They have to market. They have to use social media. I'll see some independent agencies that have their billboards. That's another one. Social media, if they can get on talk radio shows, if they go to networks instead of social networking events, buy a table to show who they are. You know, hand out flyers, hand out cards. That's how they're going to have to get noticed because they're independent agencies. They're not one big association where they're going to know, okay, they're recognized under farmers, as an example, and they can just go in there and they see and they're connected. They have to do this themselves. So if you know if you want to eat, you have to work, right? If you need money, you have to work for it. You have to really go after it. And of course, I think what works too is building up your reviews because
Hmm.
once people go on there and they're saying auto insurance in the area of Rancho Cucamonga, the person with the agency with the most reviews is going to pop up first. And who do you think they're going to go to? They're going to start off the top, and people like to do quotes, right? So I'm searching for a quote, and I would start off with the top agency that has the 5 stars that has 1,000 reviews, as opposed to an agency that only has 500. Not to say that they're not a good agency, but they're just not using that tool. They can be a great agency, but they can even be better if they had that because now they'll be on top of the one that was up there. They'll be the first ones to call, and not the fifth ones to call.
Yeah, reviews are
Yeah,
huge. Huge.
yeah.
How are you marketing the convention?
I use LinkedIn like crazy. I go to networking events. I mean, like I tell everyone, my ROI on LinkedIn is like 1,000%. For one, it's free. I get companies reaching. I get companies reaching out to me because of all the posts or the pictures I take. They're like, "Oh, Dan? Well, I knew Dan back then. Let's connect." That's happened, and they see what we're about, and we need to be seen, and we need to be heard as well, so they can know who Agent Brokerage Matter is and what we do. So yeah, that's how I do it. I go to social networking events. I go to different association events, whether it's golfing outing, whether it's a Christmas party, a lunch and learn, um, their trade show conventions. If I can make it and it fits my schedule and I can go, then I'm going to go because that's where all the companies are at. That's where the agents are at. And like I just went to one this past Monday. It was at West Covina at the Sierra Lakes Golf Club. Oh man, beautiful course. It was by another association, great turnout. And a lot of people that I knew that I haven't seen for a while, it just rekindled those relationships. Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. And man, I got to get you back out to Vegas. What's going on? Just reminding them. So you got to stay in front of them too, right? So that's how I market. That's how I market for the business. And with the agency, it's just I got business cards too. You know, for an example, I'll give you a great example. I'm in Las Vegas. We're at John's one of his condo suite in Vegas at the Dirt Towers, and I'm going up the escalator, and I just make small conversation with his man and his woman, his wife, and we go up to the pool, and I'm playing the classic rock radio station, and he's like, "Man, I like that music," and we just started talking. I said, "What do you do?" He goes, "I'm in the cannabis industry." I said, "Who you got for your insurance?" He goes, "Well, in the cannabis, this is I forgot the product that he sells. That's kind of hard. It's a big risk, right?" And I said, "Well, I got the company for that, you know." And I told him, I said, "It's Prime Insurance Company." He goes, "Oh man, I already got Prime. I know the owner." And I said, "Well, the owner's a really good friend of mine, but it's just talking to people. It's like where you're at. If you're in like that Dirt Tower where people live, they're business owners, they have money. That's what I'm assuming. So I would talk to everybody, so I would develop that. You need insurance? I can help you out. I don't write, but we have an office of staff that can help you, whether you want life insurance, home, auto, renters, business. Down the line, we got the companies for you. And I just pass them along. So they give me a call. All right, let me, you know, direct them to the person they need to talk to.
Yeah, this is like the perfect job for you.
Yeah,
Marketing and and that's something that, yeah, I really kind of envy in a way, because it's like it's maybe just growing up as a shy kid. My parents are shy too. Maybe I saw that, so it was like kind of like hard for me to like go up to strangers and talk, which is kind of weird because I'm in the insurance business. You got to be friendly and social, but I think it's also like you said a skill that you just have to get over and develop. Because it's just all about building relationships. Yeah, good stuff. The conference, April 24th to 27th, Planet Hollywood. Is there like a website or something you can share with us?
yes, absolutely. So it's abuunited.com. abuunited.com.
Nice. You can send me the link. I'll put it in the description there too. So yeah, I'll check my schedule too. Um, how do you think it compares to the Asian American
Oh,
Alliance?
it's a good conference. I like American Agents Alliance, great conference. I go to it all the time. Um, it compares. I mean, we both do the same thing, and I recommend people go to that conference too.
Nice. But that one's more like a California one, right? Or is that a West Coast one
Yeah,
or
that's regional, mainly for California. As opposed to ours, it's more for everybody. So you get agents coming in from Kansas, Florida, Texas, Ohio, a lot of California agents because they already know us. They're familiar with us because we did 2 shows a year here in California.
nice. You guys don't do the California one anymore? You just made
We
it
do
into
a
all that.
small, well, yeah, we do a smaller one. We were doing one in Northern California. We called it our mini convention because it was a 1 day event, 20, 30 vendors, and that was it, right? So this, I think in 2025, we may do it in Southern California. We're not sure, but we're just do a 1 day event and still call it our mini convention with 20, 30 vendors, and we'll have maybe 120 agency owners out and provide some CE hours.
Nice. Yeah, you guys are doing a lot. How does John do it? Agency and then the training and I mean the convention itself is like, a full-time operation. It's like just so
It
many
is
moving parts and logistics and stuff like that. Tell us how, someone like him could just handle so much different parts, same industry, but different parts of it.
well, he started off, so John Spivey, he's been in the insurance industry 30 plus years, and he started off as a marketing rep with AIG, the General, Hartford, FIC, then it was Kemper. Then he opened up his agencies, and then he started the association because he wanted to do more, right? So he's seen the corporate side of it, he's seen the agency owner side. He's like he wanted to do more, so that's when he started the association, and it was formerly known as It was called Big Independent Group, but when we went national, we got a lot of national attention. So the Big I, the association out there, their attorney sent a letter of cease and desist your name because it's too close. So John was like, not a problem. That's a big, great association. We're not fighting that. And so we changed it to Agent Brokers United, and that's how that started. So and that's good. That's like, what more recognition do you want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of experience though. So I bet he has a lot of stuff that he could share us as he's seen. But yeah, that totally makes sense. He was in the corporate side, so he knows what it's like to be a marketing rep. And then he's also an agency owner for so many years. So that is
yeah,
a great to be way to help out the industry, like just more than just yourself and more than just your operation, What can you do for others? And that's something that I just really want to acknowledge you guys for.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, he manages it, and now that he has me, it makes his job that much more easier, right? So me, I mean, you can ask me to do something, I'm gonna do it. Or you need to have that take that initiative approach. You already know what needs to be done, just go after and do it. So yeah, and that's part of my character. I want you put that as much trust in me. I'm gonna I'm gonna show it. This is why you're betting on me because I bet on myself and I believe in myself that I can do this. Like he'll tell me, hey, we got to get this done. I'll be like, easy peasy. It can be a hard task,
Hmm.
but in my mind, it's easy. You know. So it's again, it all goes back to mindset. It all goes back to mindset.
That's so true. Like sometimes we just tell ourselves it's hard when it's really not. It's just
Yeah,
only takes like a couple hours or two to figure something out, or just one person you got to know to get help from. So, yeah, just saying that, and I think that also helps you get more trust from John too. When you just whenever he tells you something to do, and you're just like easy peasy, then he's like, okay, he's got it. So I
yeah,
think that's just a great attitude to look at things. Sometimes we tell ourselves it's a lot harder than it really is. So I actually go on the
yeah,
opposite side and say, hey, this is easy peasy. I'm gonna start saying that when someone asks me to do
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I mean, just that initial step of going to Vegas, that was a hard step. But again, we made it, and it was all about the mindset. It's like a boxer, right? You can't go into a ring saying I'm gonna get knocked out today. You got to go in there with a winning mindset in everything that you do. Every approach that you have in life, you got to go in with a winning mindset. If you have that, you're gonna win all times. And even when you do lose, you're gonna win because you learned something from it. So it's a win-win regardless how you see it.
That's right. That's the way you see it is a positive way of seeing it. And I think that's the
Yeah.
key there. So yeah, glad to know more about you, Ricky, just get to know you better, and then also about the convention. Hopefully, some people have watched this and maybe will check it out too. I gotta check my
Yes.
schedule, and I want to support you if I can, and just to get to know more people in the business too. I love doing it now too, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully, I could just support you in other ways too because you have been a support for me over the years. So. Thanks so much for being on the show. It's just great to know, people like this are part of this industry, just people that want to help each other, people just are selfless and just want to give, and then that's how they help themselves too. So I think this business is full of people like that, but you're just a great representative that's out there that we all know. So I'm glad to be one of those people that gets to say that I know Ricky too. So thank you for being on the show, Ricky. We'll definitely keep in touch, and please let me know if you need anything anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and thank you for everyone for listening. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Ricky.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too. Thanks, bye.
Bye.